Hello, people. Today I want to share with you about 3D graphics and modeling and related technologies behind it. Actually, they are most basic technologies or the fundamental technology behind 3D graphics and modeling is actually polygon modeling. You have texture mapping, rigging, and animation. Those are the three major key tenets that is behind 3D graphics and modeling in relation to virtual reality, which is the bigger picture we are looking at. Now, polygon mapping involves creating 3D models using polygons. So, these polygons, such as shapes and quads, they are being used to represent surfaces and shapes. So, any most of the 3D shapes or most of the characters we have in virtual realities, they've been created out of polygons or out of shape, right? So this shape form what we call skin, as we look at what skin is later on. Now there is what we call texture mapping, which is basically a technology where you have 3D images being mounted on 3D surfaces to add texture, to add what we call detail, color, and realism to what we are creating, be it a character or a complex shape that we are trying to come up with. Now, we have what we call rigging and animation. Now, when we are talking of rigging and animation, we are basically talking about skeletons or rigs. Then we have what we call the skins, which are usually mounted on top of the rigs. And thereafter, we have what we call the controls, which are majorly for the whole idea of manipulating these rigs to behave in a certain way we want in our virtual reality scene. So it is imperative that we look at these three. Uh, Now, when we are talking of rigging and animation, there are three things that we need to have in mind. We need to know that for a character built out of rig, or rigs must have what we call skeletal, which is the fundamental structure behind any character in virtual reality. Now, this skeleton is also what we call the rigs. So, for enabling uh, animation, so we need to know that the skeletal are rigs and they are always the basic or the fundamental structure of a character. So we usually mount skins on top of the skeleton or the rigs. Now these skins are made up of polygons, right? So it is on them that we do the texture mapping. It is on them that we polygons that we use to create skin. Then there is what we call the controls. Now controls are meant to manipulate the rigs and to animate them and to make them behave in a certain way we want them to behave in our set. So we also need to know there are some various softwares that are used for modeling, and we have software such as Blender, we have Autodesk Maya, we have the 3ds Max, which are basically used in creating of virtual reality environments using the manipulated 3D models. Therefore, we also need to know that there is one major technique known as rapid prototyping technique, which involves software tools and techniques that are used to quickly iterate on 3D models for virtual reality applications. So it is important to know these elements, and these are the driving force behind what we call virtual reality. So, in our bigger picture, which is virtual reality, it is fundamentally important to understand these aspects that I've been able to highlight for you today. See you in the next video.